Three breaking stories just hit the Chiefs' kind fight, Chiefy camp, and they put the entire fan base on edge. First, Sky Moore suddenly comes back to life with a jaw-dropping 88-yard punt return. But is this a real turnaround, or just one last flash before the cut? Then comes a tough truth. Patrick Mahomes is running more than he should, and that could come at a serious cost. And finally, Brian Robinson Jr. His name pops up as a possible trade target, but the front office's response caught everyone off guard. If you're a true Chiefs fan, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. Let's get into it. Sky Moore pulled off a jaw-dropping 88-yard punt return for a touchdown in the Chiefs' preseason clash with the Seahawks, and for a split second, it felt like the dude flipped the script on his whole NFL narrative. But let's not get too carried away. One electric play doesn't erase the glaring reality that Moore's time in Kansas City has been more bust than boom. When the Chiefs snagged him in the second round of the 2022 draft out of Western Michigan, the vision was clear. Turn him into one of Mahomes' go-to guys. A shifty route runner with upside, Moore was supposed to be another lethal piece in Andy Reid's offensive arsenal. Instead, he has mostly been a non-factor, unless you count the disappointment echoing around Chiefs Kingdom every time his name comes up. Heading into this season, it looked like the writing was on the wall. Fans and analysts alike figured he was a roster cut waiting to happen. Then, boom, that punt return touchdown hits, and suddenly the Sky Moore hype train gets a jump start. Again. But let's pump the brakes a bit. Because the truth, that return doesn't change the fact that the dude's stat line over 3 seasons is painfully underwhelming. 494 receiving yards, 1 regular season touchdown, 43 catches over 36 games. Yes, he scored in the Super Bowl, huge moment, but that flash has never materialized into consistent production. He's had Mahomes throwing him the ball and Reid scheming him into the offense, and still, the impact just hasn't been there. Meanwhile, other guys are stepping up and showing something real. Jason Brownlee and Tyquan Thornton are flashing in camp and preseason, looking hungry and way more dynamic than Moore's ever looked in regular season action. This isn't about being unfair to Sky. It's about recognizing that the clock has been ticking, and KC can't keep waiting around on potential that never shows up when it counts. If the Sky Moore situation already had fans uneasy, what just came out about Mahomes is even more concerning. Patrick Mahomes doesn't just sling the rock better than anyone else in the league. He has also been quietly keeping the Chiefs' ground game afloat when needed. Everyone knows about the highlight reel throws, the no-looks, the off-platform lasers. But what often gets overlooked is just how effective he has been when he tucks it and runs. Sure, Mahomes' legacy is built on his arm. Since taking over in 2018, he's basically turned the quarterback position into performance art, dropping over 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns in his first full year like it was nothing. But behind the jaw-dropping passing stats, there's been this consistent, sneaky good rushing element that's helped keep the Chiefs' offense moving when things break down. In those early seasons, he was more opportunistic on the ground. 272 yards in 2018, 218 in 2019. Nothing earth-shattering, but solid. Then 2020 hit, and something clicked. Mahomes started using his legs more often and more effectively, breaking 300 rushing yards every season since. It's not just scrambles either. It's smart, situational runs. Third and short? Pocket collapsing? He doesn't panic. He finds a lane and moves the chains. And this mobility has been critical, especially when the Chiefs' backfield has lacked consistency. Last year, the running back trio of Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, and Elijah Mitchell all had flashes. but they weren't exactly ironclad week to week. So once again, Mahomes became the guy who could bail out the offense when a designed run stalled or when defenders were breathing down his neck. Heading into 2025, the question isn't whether Mahomes can continue being effective as a runner. It's whether he should. The man's not old, but he's also not 23 anymore. With a stacked RB room and more competition in the wide receiver group, there's going to be pressure to keep Mahomes upright and healthy for another deep playoff run. Still, don't expect him to fully shift into Brady statue mode just yet. Mahomes knows when to slide, when to stretch the play, and when to make defenses pay with his legs. That's not going away. He might not lead the team in rushing, but his ability to extend drives and make defenders miss is still very much part of his superpower package. And to close it out, the last headline shakes up the roster AS future, with a potential addition getting shut down before talks even began. With the NFL trade market heating up as the regular season creeps closer, the Chiefs are always a team folks keep an eye on. Brett Veach is known to stay active, always scanning the league for potential upgrades. So, when word got out that Washington's Brian Robinson Jr. was up for grabs, the natural question was, should Kansas City make a move? Short answer? Nope, they shouldn't. And here's why. On paper, Robinson looks like a decent option. He has a physical back who can catch out of the backfield and hold his own in pass protection. But the reality is, the Chiefs already have that prototype in-house twice. Isaiah Pacheco may not be elite just yet, but he's been solid and brings a violent running style that fits the offense. Yes, injuries have been a concern. He has missed 11 games the last 2 years, but when he is healthy, he runs with more burst and energy than Robinson. And word out of camp is that Pacheco's added muscle this offseason. That power, it's only going up. Behind him, you've got Kareem Hunt. Granted, he's 30 and trending past his prime, but the dude knows this offense and is still a grinder. He actually almost matched Robinson's rushing totals last season, despite playing fewer games. That kind of familiarity and production can't be overlooked, especially when you're trying to squeeze every ounce of value out of a vet on a short leash. Then there's Elijah Mitchell, who's a total speedster when healthy. But that's the catch, right? He's got an injury history that might have him flirting with the cut line. And don't forget Brashard Smith. The rookie's raw, sure, but he's got the speed and pass-catching ability that gives this backfield a different wrinkle. If he clicks, KC's got themselves a dangerous chess piece. So even though the Chiefs' RB room isn't exactly a murderer's row, adding Brian Robinson feels like moving sideways. He doesn't bring anything unique, he's arguably less explosive than what they've already got, and he'd cost draft capital that's better spent elsewhere. Bottom line, this isn't a roster that needs another middle-of-the-pack power back. They need health, versatility, and upside. Robinson doesn't check those boxes, so the smart move here is to keep that phone call on hold and let someone else take the bait. Sky Moore may have reignited some hope, but for how long? Mahomes keeps saving the day, but how long can his body take it? And Robinson? Already ruled out. Subscribe to stay locked in on every Chiefs update.